Hey, Chuck, I love the fact that I can find out how much I qualify for and dollar.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. You are looking live at the first post Chip Kelly show. As Chip Kelly was let go last night. I know you're aware of that already. We have the Pete Carroll press conference. I think we'll have Harry Ruiz at 12:30 and Sam Mson at 1 o'clock. Yes, appreciate everybody. Bricklayers, yes. The darkest of days. That's why you're here. You want to be here for some darkness? Okay. Coming off my birthday yesterday, I'm a little tired, to say the least. I'm a little tired. Cowboys beat the Eagles. Wow. All right, Clay. So we have Pete Carroll ready. Okay.
We have Gino's presser from yesterday. It's only 2 minutes, very small.
Okay.
But Antonio Pierce was on CBS for 90 seconds. He goes on by saying, "Hey, we were going to take Shador in the first round if I was still there. I would have taken him." It's a great big Shador.
What an easy bet if you would have beat Cleveland to win. What an easy day of cashing a ticket if you bet Cleveland on the money line.
Hold on.
All right, we'll be on in a second here.
The guys that compete, play with passion, are going to have a chance at a place.
Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy to be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have a really good team.
I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, we are here for the aftermath of the Cleveland Browns' victory over the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday. In the breaking news of the firing of offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. JT here at Lotus Broadcasting. We appreciate everybody listening on all the platforms. Mondays are a good stream day for us for obvious reasons. People like chaos. They like getting after it after a loss. You can watch the show on YouTube on our own channel, JT the Brick YT, or on the Raiders mobile app. And we're brought to you by PTs. Was there at Sierra Gold over the weekend. Met a friend over there for a beverage or two. PTs fuels the monologue. 5 to 7, midnight to 2, the best happy hour in town. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Big birthday yesterday. It's a great birthday other than the game. Raiders ended up losing the game, and I thought they played one of the worst games I've ever seen in recorded football history. And that's the topic of the show as we open it up. So what we can do here is we can go in a bunch of different directions, but I think today it will be about Chip Kelly. Our friend Greg Olson takes over now as offensive coordinator. Most people want to call in or comment on Chip, and you can. Remember, we're the flagship station. We're not the fire the guy show, but when they get fired, absolutely. Absolutely. We're a little different. We don't call in and say, I want everybody fired. We can't do it. We're on the flagship. This is the Raiders station. We don't ask for people to be fired. But when they get fired, you can talk about it, and I want to talk about it. And I'd love to get into this topic because there's a lot of layers to why the Raiders are playing so badly this year. And Chip Kelly takes the heat for it. He loses his job. It's one of the greatest paying jobs in sports history. $6 million a year, the highest paid coordinator, I believe, in the history of the NFL. offense or defense. I believe that's accurate. And now he'll get paid like other coaches to go away. And again, I got nothing really bad to say about Chip. Met him a few times. Been fine to me. I wish everybody well here. It's not personal with me, man. I don't hate people. I don't hate coaches. I get to know them. Wish them well. And we fired a lot of them here. A lot of them lately. I mean, we're talking about coaching staffs, let alone individual coaches. They fired the special teams coach and now the offensive coordinator. And we still got games left. So I want to say this as we open up the show because I was very aggravated yesterday. I was optimistic going into the game. I thought the Raiders would win the game. They were the favorite to win the game. I thought they were better than the Cleveland Browns. Shador Sanders, I saw Dion on the field before the game. It was good excitement there. Good Cleveland fans there, Raider fans. I saw a lot of Raider fans at the Torch. Everybody was having a good time, hanging out with Fred Biletnikoff down on the field. Happy days. Eric Allen's birthday the day before, my actual birthday yesterday. And we're sitting there and we're in a good mood. We're excited about it. Then the game came on. And the game was god-awful. And it's my conclusion because I said it last night if you didn't get the post-game show. This is the worst Raiders offense of all time. This is the worst Raiders offense of all time. Born in 1960, Al Davis, 1963. They were the team of the decades. They won an AFL championship, right, in 67, the Super Bowl, right, 76 season into 77. They played in other Super Bowls. Jim Plunkett won 2, 80s, right? So they were a great team for a long time. Last 25 years, 25 years have been bumpy. We know that. So if you take all the Raider teams ever assembled from the 1960s till now, this is clearly the worst offense I've ever seen. Not even close. Now, someone was saying, we were talking about, what about the Jamarcus Russell? We got Jamarcus Russell with the first pick because the year before we were awful. And I go, I don't remember exactly the stats. I don't need stats to back up my opinion on how bad this offense is. This offense is the worst offense in Raiders history. It's the worst offense that I've seen. It's terrible. And Chip's out. Chip's out because you can't play any worse than this football team plays on offense. And I'm not saying it's the worst Raider team of all time because the defense is pretty good. Defense is okay. It's not great defense. No, it's not great, but it's a good defense. And it sometimes should be playing better. But the offense can't run a play. The offense can't move the ball anywhere, anytime, anyhow. They can't do anything. And that was evident yesterday at Allegiant Stadium when the boo birds were raining down. I don't boo. Never been my thing. I yell and scream. I'll throw a cup on the ground, but I really don't boo my team. And I'm not telling you how to be a fan. I just tell you what I would do. But the boos were raining down. At halftime, I couldn't believe how loud the booing was in our home stadium. And that's because the Raiders with their penalties, their mistakes, their pre-snap penalties. But yesterday was the first time that I've been able to say this on this broadcast. The team had no juice yesterday. They had none. Max Crosby lit up the team. He came to the bench. I sit behind the bench, the Raider bench, a little bit up. And I saw Max. And normally I don't look at the bench a lot during the game. But I saw Max. And believe me, he looked like he had to be held back. He was really upset. He was very upset about something. I'm not exactly sure, but Max was not happy. Lincoln Kennedy pointed it out today on Raiders Roundtable that I host every Monday with Eric Allen, that he's never seen an offensive line not pick up their quarterback when their quarterback gets sacked. Lincoln said, look, I didn't get beat that much, but when I did, I picked the quarterback up. He's talking about Rich Gannon. And he said, if I didn't cause the sack, I'd go pick up Rich Gannon because everybody would be there. None of that for this offensive line in Geno. The body language was atrocious. All day long, there was no juice, as far as I can tell. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anybody excited to be there. I'm sure there's a few players that were really vocal down on the field, and everybody wants to win. Don't get me wrong. But the lack of energy and the lack of body language by this team yesterday was glaring. It was. And that's a problem. Because say what you will about Pete Carroll. He always has his teams ready to play. From USC through Seattle, he has you ready to go. But yesterday, the Raiders, knowing they had to win this game, they didn't want to be embarrassed and lose this game. They had to come out and they had nothing. They had nothing. They couldn't do anything. And the offense is so bad, it's unwatchable. They can't run a play. They're blocking wrong people. They're whipping on blocks. They can't run it. They don't play fast. They don't play with any vision or passion. It just doesn't work. So Chip got fired. That's like the big guy. Pete, he's out. Chip Kelly in charge of the offense. And this offense is without a doubt at rock bottom. I don't think it can play worse at all. I don't know if I'll be right or wrong on that, but I don't think you can play as badly as they play. If you play professional football, which means you played in college and you were a star in high school, you don't need a coach to hold your hand and tell you how to block someone. You don't need someone to tell you how to run a route. You don't need someone to say, hey, man, take a little off that ball. You got to fit it in that spot. You're a professional. And this offense can't do anything. I mean, the stats are overwhelming how bad this team has been this year. And this team, I thought coming in with Bowers and Ashton Genty at a minimum, and Gino, they'd be pretty good. They'd be decent. I had no idea that the offensive line would play this badly. I don't think they're a good offensive line coming in, but I didn't think they'd play this badly. Here's some stats for this offense. 30th in yards per game out of 32. 30th. 25th in passing yards per game at 189.5. 31st in rushing yards per game, under 80, 79 yards a game. And finally, tied for dead last in points per game, 15 points per game, average. So you can't get any worse than this. This is the worst Raider offensive team I've ever seen. Now, Colt Miller's out, JPJ's out. Everybody on the offensive line seems to get banged up. We don't have a number one receiver. Trey Tucker's a good receiver. He's not a number one. Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football. I don't think Chip got him the ball enough. In this last game, he tried, but not enough. And this running back, we are running him into the ground. He is getting beat up and hammered every time he touches the football. He can't get back to the line of scrimmage. But the most alarming thing here is the fact that the offensive line is overwhelmed on every play. They can't run block. They can't pass protect. Forget about pass protection. They gave up 10 sacks. 10. Okay, there probably could have been more. People are like, why not change the quarterback? Why? What's that going to do? That quarterback has no protection. And then when Gino's playing, and Gino has a little bit of protection, just a little bit, at times he's okay. But Gino is not doing anything to put this team on his back other than what he says verbally to him and as a leader. And by all accounts, Gino's a good leader. No one's criticized him of that. I'm not going to be the first. He's frustrated now. I know fans are talking about the gesture he made coming off the field. There's a lot of frustration going on, no doubt about that. But the offense practices all week, and then they go to the game, and nothing works. So they fire the OC because nothing works. So I'm happy. I know Greg Olson a long time. I consider him a friend. I hope that Ole comes in here and lets him have some fun, opens it up, does a couple of unique things that Chip didn't do. And Chip can only do so much either. Okay, this is not all Chip Kelly's fault, even though he got fired. It's not all of his fault. The quarterback play, Colt Miller not being able to play, the talent that he has on the offensive line, it's not all Chip Kelly's fault. But it comes down to the fact that if you can't get an NFL offense to move the ball week in and week out, it's completely broken, and now you got to start over again, which we'll watch. And hopefully it'll be better. And that's all I can say. I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to get worse. I'm hoping it's going to get better. There's a lot of games left, a lot of football left. But that was really alarming yesterday. Very alarming to be in the building and to be in a festive mood and go in there and be excited for a game and then to see how badly that game was played. You really can't play any worse than the 2025 Las Vegas Raiders offense. That's about as bad of an offense as you've ever seen ever in your life. Is that real enough for you? For the guys who call me the homer, is that real enough for you? I said it's the worst Raider offense I've ever seen. That's about as real as I can get. So Chip is gone. I don't think a lot of people love Chip here because the team wasn't doing well. But Chip had a hell of a run before he got here, especially at the Ohio State with the balance of that national championship. But it is college. He's coming into the pros. I figured, like Josh McDaniels now is doing a great job as an offensive coordinator. He wasn't a good head coach. I thought that Chip would get this thing going. Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, how bad could it be? Seriously. You're drawing up plays in the dirt. You're drawing up plays in the dirt, and you got Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. Two really good players, I believe, cornerstone foundational players. And we can't get them anywhere where they can make a play. So that's it. I didn't expect. So last night after the post-game show, so Lincoln and I do the post-game show, my wife threw me a nice event at the Cosmopolitan. A bunch of my friends showed up. A couple surprised me. One of my best friends in my life surprised me, brought me really to tears. I was so happy to see him. So, we had a couple of beverages, and my oldest son, he goes to me, Dad. I go, yeah. He goes, hands me his phone. It's Adam Schefter, not calling, just his Twitter account. And Chip Kelly's been fired. I look at Lincoln Kennedy. He's sitting right next to me. He's like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, this is real. And then boom, phone started blowing up. Our bosses at the Raiders, people inside telling us that it's true and Chip is gone. We had an interesting conversation after a few, Lincoln and I, before we got on TV today and talked it up. So wherever you want to go with this, I'm good. Wherever I want to go. Again, just know the rules, what we do on the show. It's not the fire show. If you like other shows that want to fire everybody and are not associated with the team, please support them. You don't need to support me. But if you want to talk about why Chip got fired and why they're playing so bad, 1,000%. Let it rip. 702-365-9200. I'm on X at JT the Brick, Facebook, and you can get in on all of that. And people in the chat are saying, let the rookies play. Well, look, the rookies aren't good enough to play yet. So we're going to let them play. They're going to play now. But I believe what Pete Carroll says, because I can understand what he's saying. He's saying that he's having practice all week and the best guys are going to play. If one of these rookies were better than one of the veteran guards or tackles, they play. They would play. They don't prove that they can at practice, so they're not going to play in the game. But that should all change now. I just think you throw everybody out there. But then you got to worry about players getting injured if you can't protect the quarterback and the running back. You got to be a little bit concerned about that. That's a problem because this offensive line just can't get it done. So anybody you want to put on this offensive line, anybody, I'm talking practice squad guys, practice squad, not backups, practice squad guys, get them up and let them go. Let them rip. Everybody else, get off. Everybody else, you've had your chance. 10 sacks. 10 sacks. We're not looking for your grade at PFF that said you got a 73. That might be okay. No. Everybody on this offensive line, jobs on the line going forward. I don't expect any of them to be back. I wouldn't be surprised if none of them were back because they got to go get better players. And I believe Spytek will do that. He's probably got a couple in-house. They're probably going to clean house with the offensive line. Colton, yeah, bring Colton back. JPJ, I don't know. They don't seem. Chip Kelly wasn't in love with JPJ. I'll tell you that much. This might be the best thing that ever happened to JPJ. Chip Kelly being outside. Now, we'll hear what Craig Olsen says about that. And then you just got to scout and find players in the draft and in free agency. And you just got to go get them. And if you really want a quarterback that badly, okay, take the quarterback first. Take the quarterback first in the draft if he's available. Right? If he's a great quarterback, you want him, take him. But then after that, you got to go all offensive line. And most rookies don't play good at the offensive line. Most rookies don't because they get dominated because these grown-ass men who have been playing for 6, 7, 8 years in the league torch them. So if you just want to draft offensive linemen, Don't act like that's going to get fixed anytime soon, because a lot of the young offensive linemen next year need to be developed. As Fred Bolitnikov's been telling Eric Allen and myself at length, these players need teachers to teach them how to play better football. Coaching's coaching. Tell them where to go, give them the play. What are you doing during the week? What are you doing during the week to teach them how to be better football players? That's it. Disappointing that the special teams coach and the OC got fired during the season, because special teams has been terrible and the offensive line is one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen on the worst Raider offense I've ever seen. So I hope these guys get great. I pull for them. I'm not here talking trash. I'm just telling you, this is Captain Obvious stuff, man. This is real simple stuff. But I'm hoping they win, where other people don't hope they want to win. They don't want them to win. They don't want them to play well. They don't want to do this or that. No, I want them to win. I want to get behind these guys. I want to see them win and play better, because losing doesn't help the franchise down the road. It doesn't. It doesn't get you better draft picks. It might here and there. You got to have a whole draft and get a whole bunch of drafts to have good players. Yeah, I'd like a higher pick, but the higher pick's not going to be the end of the world unless there's a Peyton Manning or someone coming out of college like Andrew Luck, or if there is that one can't miss guy, a John Elway. Yeah, you want that first pick instead of the second or third pick. But the rest of them, they're just draft picks. The Raiders are going to have high draft picks, really high draft picks, and they're going to have to get good players to come in. And then they're going to have to lock up a lot of them in free agency, and they're going to have to do it up front on the offensive line, because we can no longer watch football being played this badly on offense. Just on offense, by the way. This is not about the defense. Defense owns up to it. The defense has had some bad games this year. Some bad games. They had a bad play when they gave up that screen pass, 66 yards. No one tackling. But the offense is super, super disappointing. And I can't believe that they come out of television timeouts with a pre-snap penalty. I'm like, wait, why are we waiting so long to get the game going on? Oh, they're in a TV timeout. All right, I get it. They're in a TV timeout for 2 minutes, and then boom, ref blows the whistle. Raiders false start. Go back. I mean, how many times this year, if you've been in Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders, I should be able to find this pretty quickly, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 18. Geno checks down. And in regards to Geno, look, Geno's a man, and a lot of people are coming after his manhood with certain language in the crowd and acting really harshly, which you should never do to someone who's playing for your team. But people come after him on different platforms here. Geno looks super frustrated now. Geno looks like he is super frustrated and really in a bad spot. And I don't know how he comes out of it. I have no idea how he comes out of it. No idea. Because I don't think he can play better with this offensive line. But I've been asking him to play better all year. And it didn't work in this game either. Shador didn't play great. But Shador beat Geno. Yeah, we talked about that. It was Geno versus Shador. And Geno lost again. Okay. I let all this out of my system on the post-game show last night. Then we did Raiders Roundtable this morning. And now I got 2 hours here. And I got to do 3 hours tonight on my night show. And then we'll see what happens the rest of the week. But today, your opinion means a lot to me. I want to hear what you have to say as we get going out of the gate. Let's start off with OB from North Las Vegas. Go ahead. Start us off.
Hey, happy birthday, JT, by the way. I love the Cosmopolitan. I'm glad you had a good time.
Thank you.
It's O-line. You keep Colton Miller, and then you don't agree on most things. You're cranky Yankee. I'm a Philly fan. I've lived out here 40 years. I'm from Philadelphia. The Eagles did what to the bed yesterday? I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, I've been through the Chip Kelly experience in Philly. It was one good year, maybe 2 good years, maybe 1.5 good years. Okay, I mean, I know he's a little older. He was awful for San Francisco. He was for UCLA. He was okay, but I get it. But I would keep Colton Miller and just, hey man, just rebuild. You got to rebuild. And I think Geno's know, in my opinion, is washed, but this year did not help him at all. So happy birthday, my brother.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
good
it.
doggy.
Thank you. Thank you very much for starting us off this week. Opens up a line for everybody else. This is a good caller day. I don't have many guests because Mondays we like to give our guests some time off here and talk to you and get you in here at 702-365-9200. I'm not doing what's next. You know, hey, what would you do next? I'm not running that type of show. Those shows are good. I'm not here to predict what's going to happen 2 years from now. I just want to react to how badly they're playing. That's the focus of the show today, is how come this offense can't play football at a competitive level? And they agree with me. They fired Chip Kelly. So Harry Ruiz is going to join us here in a few minutes, and then we're going to play Pete Carroll's interview, which I have not heard. I was driving back here, so I know he spoke. We'll get to some of that. Sam Mson at the top of the hour, our insider. And if you want to get through 702-365-9200, tell us all what you think and what you think needs to happen, not only with Greg Olsen. That's one thing I'd like to take calls on. What do you want to see change with Greg Olsen? I've known Greg a long time. He's going to come out and try to make a statement because he's got a reputation. He's coached some really good players, and he's been on some teams that have struggled too. He's bounced around a bit, but he loves the Raiders and he wants to win, and he's going to come out there ready to roll for this team. It's too late when it comes to wins and losses, but I also think they want to come out there and prove that they're a team, they trust each other, and they're going to try to at least play better, which is something that has to happen. You know, we're partnering with Finley Volvo Las Vegas. They got the all-new 2025 EX90 SUV, full electric, 0% APR for well-qualified buyers for 72 months. Or you can get $12,500 in cash incentives off of your best deal. The EX90 is recognized as the finest, most technologically advanced EV SUV in the market. We thank Mike and our partners at Finley Volvo Las Vegas. So we're going to let it rip today, everybody. I kind of let it rip last night on my 60th birthday, thanks to my wife, who pulled off a very nice event. We had a good time. A lot of good friends I saw last night. My heart is full when I get a chance to see my friends. Try to see my family as much as I can, but a special weekend with my wife and two sons, and I know they're both listening, or, you know, they're here for me, and I really appreciate that. When we come back, Harry Ruiz, the Spanish voice of the Silver and Black, he called the game. He's going to tell you what he thinks of this offense. Wow. Shador won that game easily. It was a blowout. They got blown out by Cleveland, who many people thought were the worst team in football when they got to Vegas. Cleveland is no longer the worst team in football. I don't know who that is, but it's not the Cleveland Browns. Woo!
At some point, whoever is pulling the strings there, if it was a shit, if it is Brent, like 4 fingers against.
Stop with the new ownership bullshit. You know that's not going to work, and I'm going to blow you out of here. So if you're stupid enough to do that, you won't be here. So let's stop that, okay? I don't do this show to like babysit a bunch of kids who say stupid shit. So you know what you can say, you know what you can't say. If you don't like it, roll, get out. But don't poke me with ownership, knowing that the owner's my friend and watches the show. He ain't selling the team because you're hiding somewhere on the internet telling him to sell.
Coors Light presents Chill or Not to Chill. When you ask your song.
All right. Harry Ruiz.
Was it spoke for Harry? You went.
Yeah. Let's let me tell Harry we'll be a few minutes.
Ice cold.
No.
With music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate.
Yep. Yeah, he's good. 12:35 works. Oh, so that live read I did, that might sound better than the one you sent to demo. I don't know. So if he wants it and wants you to redo it, maybe you can send him that one. If he doesn't want it, we're all good.
Affordable. Ready? You can find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places. Visit your Southern Latitude today. Toyota, let's go places. See your face, Golden Heights on West 87
Golden Knights, New Jersey Devils. All right.
Oh, support. Change.com for all. So.
Clay, just give me one of the callers. Throw me their name now. I know it. Sure, I can't handle
Oh, okay. Ben in Denver.
it. Ben in Denver. Okay. Ben in Denver.
Raider O San Diego.
Okay. All right. A high school state football championship tomorrow. I would assume that would be Bishop Gorman versus who?
Good question.
Yeah.
Leave this map on in. I don't know what to do. It was a great turning. Yeah, but nothing. It's a little. Your commission's lawyers. You petition for DUI.
I mean, you're saying Gino's not a good quarterback? You're right. You might be right. Gino was a good quarterback for quite some time. He's a good player. That's why he's here. Gino wouldn't be here if he wasn't good. Now he's not playing good. He might not be here, right? That's what happens.
Turkeys. Split bread.
Oh, Clay, it's Thanksgiving week. Are we off Friday, Clay?
Yeah.
We're off Thursday and Friday? Wow. You hear that? We're off Thursday and Friday. Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving week. Wow. You listen to me go crazy, Pam says. Yes, pigs. Gino gets a G. Do I think the play calling is leading to the O-line failure? No, I think the O-line failure is the reason why the play calling can't help. That's what I think. I know fans are pissed off. I'm pissed off too, but I act like a pro. I'm not happy too, but I don't act like a juvenile toddler and quit on my team and have fake Raider accounts trolling the head coach. You act like an adult. The team's not playing well. That's why we criticize the team. We criticize the team when they're not playing well. Ooh, Lee Sterling, 0-2-1.
The best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
Back to throw for Gino on first down. He's looking left. He's hit from behind. The ball is out. Garrett with his third sack, and the Browns are on top of it.
That's game.
10 sacks for Cleveland. And that ties a Raiders record for the most sacks ever on one quarterback in a game. Geno Smith sacked 10 times, 3 by Myles Garrett. And the Browns are going to take over, and they're going to win here in Las Vegas.
Jason Horowitz on the call with Kirk Morrison. Yeah, 10 sacks in the game. We knew there were going to be a few sacks. We didn't think 10. We're talking about franchise record 10, tying it. That's terrible. So you can't clean that up. That's just a question of you can't stop a few players. I don't care how you teach or coach it, unless you leave everyone in, leave every receiver in, and have a fullback, which we don't have, and everybody block. There's going to be some sacks, but too many sacks in that game. Ben, thanks for waiting. You're up next on an Aftermath Monday. Go ahead.
Hey, JT, great as always. Well, I mean, man, I couldn't even finish. I did finish watching the game, but I wasn't even mad. I was just, it was laughable at the end. I was just kind of like, man, I was telling my son, like, well, this is it. Something's going to happen tomorrow. And it did happen right after the game. I mean, Chip Kelly got fired. Yep. Not all on him. And this is kind of, I feel like this is unfair on Chip, even though I did feel like something needed to change with the offense. But I don't know. I feel like the O-line is terrible. Yet we have, and I know we want to, for some reason, JT, I'm sorry. I respect this show a lot. I love. I've been, listening to you for a long time. But I mean, Brandon Carroll. That's it. I mean, If Chip Kelly's going to lose his job coming from Ohio State, where he just won a national championship, then Brandon Carroll's got to go as well. Pete Carroll, I respect him. He's won a Super Bowl. I'm from LA. You know, he won with USC. Great. And that's great. But I think Pete, he's 74, 75 years old. We got to get somebody innovative here that's going to come in. I know Ben Johnson didn't want to take the interview with us. He didn't want to do it. You know, he decided because we didn't have a QB. I get it.
Yeah.
But Pete Carroll can't be too far behind from Chip. I just don't. And maybe they respect him enough to give him the rest of the year. And I get that because at this point, but you know, at this point we gotta start playing all our draftees.
I agree. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Thanks for checking in. I think there's going to be more coaches let go. I don't know who. I don't know when. When you have a team that's playing this badly, Pete Carroll's got an amazing historic track record in the NFL. It'd be very rare to fire someone like Pete Carroll in his first season with still a bunch of games left. That'd be very rare. I mean, it's happened, but not at the level of Pete Carroll. And I think Pete's going to have to probably make some tough decisions with other coaches. Maybe they have the same name as his or not, but the first big shoe to drop is Chip Kelly. That's a big one. That's a big one. You can fire position coaches all day long. When you fire an offensive coordinator or relieve them of their services or a defensive coordinator, that's a strong statement. Harry Ruiz joins us, the Latino voice of the Silver and Black. So let's get into Chip Kelly first. Were you surprised by this? I was a little bit surprised last night. You and I are both the last two out of the building. It didn't happen while we were on the air, but not soon after.
I mean, you said it, JT. Doing a move like this in season, it's a big movement to make. The Raiders have done it now twice in a 15-day span. You go from Tom McMahon being let go as special teams coordinator. Now you got Chip Kelly gone. It's just a movement where you look at things and you say, this team has only scored one touchdown in each of their last three games. You scored one against the Broncos, one against the Cowboys, one against the Browns. And in the last two games, it came out all the way in the fourth quarter when the game was out of reach and garbage time, pretty much. It's like something needed to happen. I was saying it on the air yesterday that I broadcasted the game alone. It's like, this team needs a spark. Something needs to happen, and we're not in the stage of the game where you can go out and find a free agent, make a big trade, draft somebody to bring into that locker room to change his face. And heck, the teams felt that they did that in the offseason, bringing in Ashton Genty with the 6th overall pick, bringing in Geno Smith with a trade. And the moves haven't worked, but it's like, okay, is it the coaching? And I feel like, okay, they're going to give them another shot. The thing here is it's the third year in a row that the Raiders have an interim offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So it's like it's change for everybody in that locker room.
Yeah, and you could be a good coach from somewhere else, and if you're not winning, you're going to get fired. That's just the way it is. It's been a bad run, very bad run for the Raiders because Mark's getting rid of coaches quickly if he doesn't think they're doing their job right. And I'm all right with that too. If you're evaluating a coach, and it's a coordinator or a position coach, and you want your head coach to be there. You want your head coach. You're not looking to get rid of him. Yeah, you're going to make moves like this underneath him to try to get a spark and send a message. And Chip Kelly is a very big name around the NFL. Harry, I'm struggling. I don't know how you're calling these games with 10 sacks every time Geno's fading back. What'd you see yesterday calling the plays with the Raiders' offensive line just missing some guys who were right in front of them?
I mean, it's lack of awareness. Myles Garrett should every single time have two blockers on him. I don't care if we lose out on a tight end. I don't care if we lose out on the running back, a play or two, but you always have to have Myles Garrett double covered. I know that they're a great defensive line. They entered the game with 32 sacks and they left it with 42 sacks this season. Myles Garrett entered with 10 sacks over the last 3 games. Now it's 13 over his last 4. I mean, this guy by himself almost has the same amount of sacks that the Raiders do have as a team. Is that not enough to just say, hey, you know what? Let's put double cover, two guys on him. If it's not completely all the time, at least the chips, something. And there were times that he was just one-on-one, and it's like, man, no disrespect to Stone Forsythe, he's not the starter for this team. It's Colton Miller. If it were Colton Miller, I would feel more confident in that aspect. But when your quarterback has been getting drilled left and right by defenses like the Broncos, like the Chargers, they've been getting to him. What did you expect against the Cleveland Browns? I feel that was a big part of this decision as well, where it's like, well, where was that game plan to stop a defensive line like the Browns that you knew they were one of the best in the NFL?
Harry Ruiz is our guest. Gino missed a lot of open balls, too, at least 3 or 4. Is that fair to say? There were a couple, especially to Trey Tucker, the first play of the game. Did you see other routes that were run properly and Gino just missed open receivers?
Yeah, JT, but I'll say this. I also would have liked to see that little extra effort from Trey, at least extending his arms, at least jumping towards the football and trying to make the catch, because what has happened in previous games, probably a ball was too short or a ball was too contested. Trey Tucker had those routes won, but they weren't exactly precise to his hands, and that was the issue. They were just a little bit too long, but it's like now you're trying to overcompensate, where it's like, I don't want to risk the ball where it's going to be intercepted because I'm one of the quarterbacks with the most interceptions in the league. Of turnover in this game could end up being the costliest error that we can have to be competing in it. So he's putting that little extra space in it. I would have liked to see that extra effort by Tucker. But yeah, I mean, when you're 2-9, when you're living a season like you are right now as Geno Smith, you're going to be questioned for everything. And you know that the finger's going to be pointed his way after now the offensive coordinator is like, oh, it's like, all right, who is the guy that gets the football in his hand every single play? Geno Smith. Everybody's going to be looking at him. Is that the next move that the Raiders move? But I'll also say this. You make that move, you don't go back to him. So you better be ready for it to be like definitive, where it's like, okay, this might be our last shot at Geno with him out there on the field. I feel that you bench him, you lose him.
Yeah, that's a really important topic. Harry Ruiz is our guest. I disagree, but I know where you're going. I think you can sit Geno down for a quarter or in a game. But now the Raiders' record is so bad that if you pull Geno in a game because he's not playing well or not helping you win, then you're probably not going to play him again. And you're going to go with the quarterback, the younger quarterback, and try to develop him a little bit more. That would be Aiden O'Connell going up against Kenny Pickett. On the defensive side, did you see anything there? Max had a lot of juice as always, but you're able to look at the stats like I do after the game. Is there someone on defense that played a decent game that we should be talking about?
I love that Jeremy Chin got himself on the scoreboard, let's say, like that, with on the stat sheet with a forced fumble, a very intelligent play going behind Jerry Jeudy and forcing that fumble, where it was like I was looking at the play develop and it's like, all right, Jerry Jeudy's just trying to get those extra yards, and it's great that a player doesn't give up on a play and goes and makes the play himself and forces a fumble and makes something happen. But this defense, I have to give them a lot of credit, JT. I know that at the end of the day, you look at that big pass, 52 yards from Shedeur Sanders in the first half in the first quarter, and that pretty much like put it away with the way that the Raiders offense did. The screen pass, I mean, that was more Sampson being able to get through all the Raiders defenders. But there's a point where the Raiders have punted it over 5 times in the first half, and it's like, man, what do you expect from the defense to just get stopped in 90% of their drives? They're going to get tired out there. Eventually, it's a bend, don't break situation, and they broke at the end, and I give them credit. I was talking yesterday during a podcast, and I was saying, it's like, look, yesterday, I give the defense a thumbs up, the offense and the special teams thumbs down, but the defense, I feel that they're the reason why late in the game I could still be with the state of mind of being like, well, it's just 2 possessions. If you score once here, you're able to at least be in striking distance in this game. It could have been uglier if it were a better offense, if it were a more experienced quarterback. But the defense, I feel they did their job yesterday.
All right, last one, Harry. The record coming up and the schedule. Wow, this is the gauntlet for the Raiders in the next 4 games. The next 4 games are brutal for the Raiders. They have an opportunity to beat the Browns, Jacksonville, Denver. They lost all of them. If the Raiders don't right the ship here, this is a losing streak that could go on for a while with the quality of the opponents coming up.
Yeah, I was thinking about it last night too. I was like, well, I called that 10-game losing streak last year. I don't want to be in the same situation this season. I worked my ass off to be able to call great games and have everything ready. And I feel the frustration the same way as the fans. I want this team to be winning. I want to be able to call a winning product and enjoy those type of game days and not be with the state of mind that I'm frustrated with the way that the team is playing. So I hope that they go out there and surprise folks left and right. But the reality is Geno Smith has been sacked 9 times and intercepted 4 times between the games against the Chargers and the Broncos in the first half of the season. So here comes the second half, and you're going against those 2 teams next. One in LA, the other one out here in Denver, and then those road games, they don't get any much easier. You got Philadelphia, who got one of the best defenses in football. That's a scary gauntlet right there for the Raiders. And if they don't prepare, and if they don't just flush down these last couple of games, or 5 games, it could be even tougher towards the end. And then more questions will be asked about continuity, both from guys on the field, from the coaches on the sidelines, and the man upstairs in suits.
Yep, you nailed it. Harry Ruiz, thank you so much. Doing USC football, doing Raiders football. Busy guy. Have a great Thanksgiving with you and your family, my friend.
Thank you, JT. Thank you, Clay. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank
Go
you,
Raider
Harry.
Nation.
You got it. There's Harry Ruiz telling you what he saw in the booth. So, Clay, you had a show this morning with Vinny and Vince. What was the tone like on the morning tailgate?
Well, I think the tone was one in which, there's personnel issues, and when you think about the offense, all right, if Chip was in control of it all now, what could the changes be now that you have somebody that perhaps like Greg Olsen to go take over? And how will that look? What will the changes look like? Does it mean playing younger players? Does it mean maybe taking a switch at quarterback? You had Eric Allen on, and he said at this point of the season, if you still believe in that philosophy of competing, well, then it's time to let all 3 quarterbacks compete and see what you have with your team.
I would agree with that. I think there's probably a level of competition at quarterback, but the starter usually gets most of the snaps.
Right.
So it's hard for a quarterback to compete when the starter is getting all the snaps, but there's a lot that goes into it too. If the quarterback who's Geno, if he has a bad week of practice, we're not hearing he's having bad practice weeks, then maybe that would lead to him being benched. And I know a lot of people want to talk about Geno flipping off fans and doing what he's doing. We knew that last night when we were on the post-game show. I hate that it is what it is. It is what it is. But with Geno, you could tell Geno's really emotional. But you have to treat our fans a certain way. You just have to. Fans are supposed to treat players better. They don't. Not all of them. They don't. And especially when there's losing and there's a lot of emotion. But as a player, you just always have to take the high road. Unless it's physically a problem for you as a player with a fan, which I hope never happens, and it doesn't happen. But when fans are booing and cursing at you and screaming heinous things at you as you're running by them, you just got to keep your helmet on and get to the locker room because it's tough. And losing is never good. And you can tell Geno is really bothered by this. He's passionate about it. He's prepared to win games, and it's just not working. So we have Sam Mson at the top of the hour. He's going to join us. I want to thank our great friends over at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. Congratulations. They had big crowds that were there, big crowds for F1. And if you did go to F1 at any point over the weekend, let me know. I'm not talking Raiders every segment, especially when they're playing this bad. So if you got an F1 story or two, let us know if you had a good time this weekend and you saw the race. All right. For the best, and it's hot. All right, Clay, we got the Pete.
Yep, got Pete, got one call.
Is that a Raider?
Raider O.
Is he still there? Yep. Okay.
All right, Raider O, you're next. Hold on, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
Let's get some time in the chat. Oh, I appreciate that, Truth's finest. Yeah, I don't think flipping off people's the end of the world. It's not. Happens every day on the roads. No one gets arrested. But yeah, when you're a professional quarterback, you have to be the face of the franchise and you have to act a certain way. I don't condone that at all. I'm not condoning it. Yeah, his contract's a big contract. So is Chip's. Restaurant or online through December 31st or while supplies last. Net proceeds benefit the Bristol Pet Foundation and hundreds of pet welfare organizations across one love.
Tune in to Unnecessary Roughness here on Raider Nation Radio 920 every Monday at 2:30 in the afternoon as we speak with Raiders color commentator and former linebacker Kirk Morrison. That interview is brought to you by Credit One Bank. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders. Guys, you're ready to look your best and feel your best. JT the Brick from Raider Nation Radio, and I'm a client for tomorrow aesthetics from their certified team delivers a true premium men's spa experience just for top advanced skincare. They'll help you look sharper and feel more confident. Find them at Sahara and Fort Apache. Book your appointment now.
You play like crap. You could give anybody a grief, but you know, again, if it was you and Gino walking into a bar, you wouldn't say the stuff you say to Gino from the stands. I'll tell you that.
CW Avenue, rally starts at 1 p.m. Enjoy $3 Coors Light and Miller Lite bottles and $5 Topo Chico hard seltzer.
We should, we could all agree to disagree. The Raiders could have fixed all this if they had better quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield was available. Aaron Rodgers was available. They passed on Aaron Rodgers because he was super expensive. Baker Mayfield wasn't. Chip is at the Bellagio with a bunch of Modelo's. I would be. If you told me to go away for $6 million for a few more years, I'd be drinking Modelo's too at the Bellagio. I'd be staying in a suite.
Stopped lending money years ago to average folks who just get granted. So for a little while, they get through their situation.
Team is getting worse by the week, is a yes. The team is getting worse by the week.
Always know where you stand at the Bell and such. We're very transparent. Lend more.
I didn't think that Shador, I didn't think the Raiders needed to draft Shador, but if they did, Shador didn't prove that he was great in this game. I just think Shador's got a lot of upside. He's a young kid. He's only going to get better. Thank you, Raider Al.
Dalcone Center.
Yeah, huge D's. You wouldn't tell Gino he sucks to his face because he'd knock you out if you said that to him. So, no, you wouldn't say it to his face. You wouldn't say it to Max's face. You wouldn't say it to Pete Carroll's face. That's the problem. A lot of people think they would say that to someone in person. You wouldn't. I know what happens. Everyone asks for a selfie. Everyone asks for an autograph and a selfie. That's what they ask for. If I had $1 for every fan that said, I'd say that to him. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Fan that also knows how to place a bet. How about a library?
Oh, we need some new offensive linemen. Yes.
.com.
All right. We have Raider O.
By the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
The receiver's wide right. Trey Tucker motions over to the left. On 1st and 10 from the 30. They got to go fast. He takes the snap. There's pressure. He's trying to escape. And he's sacked back at the 22. That is number 9.
10 sacks. 10 sacks for Cleveland yesterday. JT, back with you. The M Resort. Spawn Casino. Oh, real quick story there. So Saturday night was Eric Allen's birthday. Mine was Sunday. We're born in the same year, 12 hours apart. So his wife, my wife, and Fred Bolitnikoff and his wife, Angela, all met up for a beverage. And Freddie was holding court at Anthony's, the restaurant there at the M. And we had a nice conversation. And Freddie, it was just great to see Fred, Hall of Famer now, talk to Hall of Famer Eric Allen. That's really cool for me to watch those two guys. And we had a nice conversation, nice evening. And Eric was in town with his wife. And my wife's become good friends with her. And we had a really nice time. So happy birthday also to Eric Allen, who had a great time. He was fantastic all weekend and enjoyed being around him. And he's different than me, man. You know, he takes these losses hard. but he doesn't have to get on the radio like me and kind of navigate this and be the brictator. He just gets back on the plane and goes home to this beautiful life in Point Loma. I got a pretty good life here too, but this is not going to be an easy week. But no, don't worry about me. I've done this a long time. We'll get through it. Raider O is up next on the, I was going to say post-game show. It feels like the post-game show on our show. Hello, O, what's happening?
Hey, JT, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Eric. I might have to seek him out this week, see if he wants to hang out. My birthday's coming up on Thanksgiving. It's my 45th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
And, man, all I wanted was a win.
Mhm.
And I almost called you last night, but like most of the nation, I am just so down by what's going on and, just hoping to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was going to call to say that we are no doubt the worst offense in the NFL. You've already hit that so hard today. And everything you said, it rings true. I've been kind of pushing back thoughts in my head this season that, no, this isn't the bed and breakfast offense with Andrew Walter at quarterback, right? But what I saw yesterday, what I've seen trending the whole season, it's a combination of the line, Gino, and, in my opinion, Chip. So I think Chip did have to go. Okay, the line isn't doing their job. You hear the TV announcers multiple weeks in a row now saying, hey, why is this guy getting left unblocked? Miles Garrett off from the beginning of the game, I think first play, unblocked. If you're the offensive coordinator, you are the coach, you bear the responsibility to try to make up for what are the weaknesses of your players, in your opinion, right? And Chip, a lot of experience, highest paid, he should know that. Pete had to make a call. Ultimately, Pete, as well as John Spytek, these are Chip's underneath you, right? You're responsible for what's going on. I think AP lost his job because he had to make some changes with what was going on beneath him. As far as Gino, other quarterbacks get hit a lot, and then they have the time, the guy's open, they hit him. I saw passes sailing, and it wasn't just on the close ones that could have been touchdowns, and those could have been played. My one last concern, JT, and this is for John Spytek and for Pete Carroll. I actually called you a long time ago and said I wanted Pete Carroll. I still do. I believe in him. But I'm shocked by the lack of in totality, who we got as free agents and who we got in the draft. And it just seems like a large number of players. Where are the upgrades? Where is the depth? How did we get it so wrong?
Okay.
Who got it wrong? Who owns that? That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good birthday on Thursday coming up. A lot of things that they're doing via the draft, it takes a couple of years to figure out how you're drafted. But the fact that they're not dressing or playing players that they drafted, they're just not. They're not getting them in the game is a problem for this team. I think it's a problem. They're not developing. I don't know what they're doing at practice and in team meetings. That's part of development. But none of that is working on game day. As I opened up the show and said, and I'll say it again, this is the worst Raiders offensive team I've ever seen of all time. This is the one. This is the worst one because they can't do anything. If they did something okay, I'd be like, all right, they can't do anything. They can't block. They can't pass protect. They can't play fast. They have too many penalties. They don't throw the ball deep. There's no vertical game at all. And they can't get the running back going. And the tight end's still really good in Brock Bowers. But other than that, everybody's accountable. You're a team. You're not one individual. You're part of a team. And this Raider offense is struggling to the point where I think they'll go down in history as the worst Raiders offense of all time. And the stats are going to prove that. But to me, it's beyond the stats. It's the body language. It's the way they're playing so poorly and actually how badly they're playing. Sam Mson from the 33rd team coming up, and we'll have Pete Carroll's presser to play back in a bit. All right, I'm going to keep it here for probably about another 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll go to radio only. But I'm going to stay here for a little bit, so stick around. I'll be right back. Right back. Oh, that one right there.
Tailgate, Tuesdays at 7 a.m.
Thanksgiving leftovers
Rovers are best team while
This is all Samuel. Also, I play that.
5 on ESPN Radio.
Okay.
Brought to you by Paul Padalong. It's not about the injury, it's about the recovery.
Modelo was an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste. Brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Hey Chuck, can you walk our listeners through the process of getting a signature loan from Dollar Loan Center and don'tbebroke.com?
You just need a couple of things: a state-issued ID, a recent pay stub, proof of residence, the basics. You fill out a simple application in the store or on your phone if you like, and applying is free at the DLC. For a new customer, all this takes around 30 minutes and you're out the door. Cash in hand, but we even throw in the first week's interest for free. We're also a direct lender, not a lead generator that will just sell your information over and over. Be careful of that and always use a direct licensed lender like the DLC.
DLC lends up to $5,000 in minutes, and you can get your cash in person at one of our 70 locations, on our website, don'tbebroke.com, or even over the phone with one of our helpful, real staff members. You're gonna love Dollar Loan Center.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner, the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
It's Black Friday pricing all month long at Friendly Ford. Trucks starting at $28,500. Mavericks, F-150s, Rangers, Super Duties, and more. 2025 F-150 trucks. 0% financing for 60 months. Or try the Flex Buy option with 0% for 66 months. And no payments till next year. Friendly Ford on North Decatur, just off US 95. See Friendly for details. Price plus tax and $5.99. Friendly Ford.
Raiders won one Spencer by feature officially States.
All right.
Vegas Raiders.
How was everybody else's weekend? Everybody have a good weekend other than the Raider game? Why not play Grant at left tackle, Meredith at left guard, Parham? Ugh, doesn't seem like that's great either. Yeah, I'm a little worn out today, friends. I had a couple of late nights. Man. Including last night. Last night was a pretty late night. So Clay just reminded me we're off Thursday, Friday for Thanksgiving. That's okay. Yeah, this O-line, there's not much you can do with this O-line. I don't think the players are very good. And if the starters aren't that good, how do you expect you just want to see the backups do what? Get beat? I don't know. I'm into playing some of the younger offensive linemen. That's for sure. Right.
Stadium Swim, Surface Casino. 5 into 6 temperature controlled pools. Luxurious.
Yep. All right, we're ready.
And catch every game on our massive 143-foot green. When it comes to watching football all season long, nowhere even comes close. Grab your spot at Stadium Swim today.
Yeah, there we go.
Everything you're doing, you got to be on.
First time, I expect to learn it sound like I'm from the field. I don't care what we're doing. It's every drill, everything we do. I'm expecting to win.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
It's just going to be a battle. This is going to be physical. This is going to be old school football.
Hey, yes, sir. As a great man once said, just win, baby.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
I did not watch a lot of football yesterday. I'm watching the Kansas City comeback win over Indy, and Dallas over Philly, and a couple of the other big games that were there. But the Raiders lost to the Browns. 2-8 teams. The Raiders now still stuck on 2 wins, and that's not good. I don't know how many games they're going to win? I have no idea. I was hoping they'd win more than this. I think most Raider fans who weren't even excited about this season thought they'd win more than this. But it just doesn't work. And Chip Kelly was fired last night. So as soon as I finished up the post-game show, went out and found out that Chip Kelly got fired. So we're covering that story today also. Always great to be joined by Sam Mson from the 33rd team. Sam, I want to jump in and start off first with this Kansas City win. And how significant is this now for the playoffs, their chance for the playoffs? And what does it say about Indy going forward?
I mean, for the Chiefs, that was the highest leverage playoff game that they played in the regular season. I think since the Mahomes era started, basically the biggest playoff swing that they could have had. They are upwards of 50% to make the playoffs with that win. They were down at 30, I think, something like that, if they had lost the game. So it was a big game for them to win. And then from the Colts' perspective, it's not an ideal way. They had that game in hand score-wise. They could have shut the door. They could have made it really difficult for Kansas City to make the playoffs, as well as, cementing a bounce back and trying to put themselves in a really good position and chase that number one seed. It was a blow for them. It was an opportunity lost.
Yeah, and I wonder, looking at the schedule going forward, we'll talk about it in a couple of weeks, if this will be the beginning of the end of them, where there's some doubt around them and they're not winning, or they're able to turn it around. I thought the Lions' comeback win against the Giants were mandatory, depending on their life for the postseason and the seeding that they're going to want to eventually get. The Giants came out in the first half and really gave it to the Lions before the Lions made some late adjustments in the fourth quarter and won that game. Any more concerns about the Lions now that you're seeing them struggle against a team like the Giants?
The Giants are dangerous this year. Like, they went out and beat the Eagles and looked very good doing it. The reason they keep firing people is because they have these games where they look like they should be winning and then find a way of blowing it in the fourth quarter and late in the game and letting it get away from them. And it happened again. I think they went out there with nothing to lose. Jameis is the perfect quarterback for that, just full on, YOLO style playing, just lobbing the ball downfield come what may. They broke out all the trick plays. The defensive line showed up for the first time in a while and was getting real pressure on Jared Goff. Unfortunately, the big Achilles heel was they just couldn't stop the run. And Jahmyr Gibbs was absolutely crazy. If you give that guy a crease, he's going to be gone and take it the house.
Sam Munson's our guest. Wow, Justin Jefferson only had 6 targets, 4 total receptions. J.J. McCarthy was brutal. He threw for only 87 yards, picked off twice, but sacked 5 times. What about the development with Kevin O'Connell, who is a quarterback whisperer, to get him going? I think I got this right. It was going to take him a while. They had Sam Darnold, who's very good. J.J., they wanted him to play because they invested a lot in him as a rookie high in the draft. But, man, it's hurting the Vikings now as they're long gone from the playoffs, now 4-7.
Yeah, it's not functional with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. And, who knows if he will develop or if he'll become a guy in the future. But right now, they can't win with him playing the way he is. He's too far from being ready. He's too slow in his processing right now. Everything is taking too long. There's no decisiveness. He's a little bit like Justin Fields. If you remove the dynamic rushing threat from Justin Fields' game and you were just looking at Justin Fields, the pocket passer, that's what J.J. McCarthy is right now. He's got the physical tools. The arm is good. He can fire the ball into a tight window, but it's sort of one read, stare down a target and hope it gets open, and that's not good enough at this level. So, there's talk now that he's in the concussion protocol, that he may end up missing this week's game against Seattle. And honestly, given the defense they're bringing, that might be the best thing that could happen to him, is to sit down for a little bit. They get a look at the backup quarterback, an undrafted rookie as well. And then maybe they can go back to J.J. McCarthy once they're past the kind of defense that Seattle can bring to the table.
Sam Munson's our guest as we wrap it up. So Chip Kelly got fired. I'm here in Vegas. Probably the right reason he got fired. This is the worst Raider offense I've ever seen, and I mean ever. I've never seen an offense this bad. Up front on the offensive line, they can't run it, they can't throw it. And Geno loses, Shador comes into town and wins, and Chip Kelly gets fired. You know what he's making, and he's called plays throughout his life. How big of a move was this by the Raider organization to move on this quickly from Chip Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge move. As I said, given the contract that he's on, he's the best paid coordinator in the NFL. It always felt like a sort of slightly strange marriage, given Pete Carroll's resume and Chip Kelly coming in and being the guy that he wanted to be paired with. It's also the first time I think that Pete Carroll has ever fired a coordinator mid-season, so it's unusual in a variety of different ways. I think you're right. On the one hand, look, it makes sense. This offense is an absolute disaster right now. Nothing is working. Something significant had to change. But I think a big part of the problem is a personnel issue. You know, that offensive line wasn't in good shape as you went into the season, and all the best players from it are hurt. So it's kind of disastrous right now. The Browns, with their defensive line, were obviously able to absolutely take it to pieces. And once you're doing that, well, now you can't run the ball with Ashton Genty. Now you're putting Geno Smith under pressure constantly, and you know he's not playing well under that pressure, and it is just a mess.
All right, as we wrap this up, I got to get your opinion on the Bears. That's a Caleb Williams 3-touchdown game. They were winning really ugly early in the year, very bizarre finishes, trying to run the ball and take it away from Caleb late so he didn't make bad decisions. But now I think he's finding some juice here. He's throwing the ball nice outside the pocket. When he has a clean pocket, he's delivering the ball on time, going through progressions. Really looks like his game's getting cleaned up.
Yeah, it is. It was a funny game because when he had 3 sort of turnover-worthy plays yesterday, and none of them really show up in the box score. There was a crazy fumble in the end zone that gave the Pittsburgh Steelers a touchdown. Okay, that does show up in the box score, but you got to go looking for the fumble and the points. And then he had 2 plays that were thrown, directly to Steelers defenders, and they weren't able to come up with the ball. So, like 3 bad plays don't show up in his box score. But outside of those, I think directionally he is absolutely moving in the right direction. And this, we speculated in the offseason that, number one, Ben Johnson was exactly the right coach for him in terms of a details-oriented coach, a guy that was going to really work on the fundamentals and, not let him get away with a lot of the stuff that he's gotten away with in the past. But also that might take some time, and maybe the second half of this season was going to be better than the first half. I think that's what we're seeing, is that it's taken a little time, but now you're starting to see those two on the same page and, really start pulling in the same direction. And I think you're seeing that the ceiling for Caleb Williams is still extremely high.
Last game, the Cowboy fans think they're back. And they are. They still have that tie that's looming on their record there, and it could be the reason they're out of the playoffs here. But do you like what you're seeing with the Dallas Cowboys, especially on defense? It's been a couple of weeks since Micah Parsons left to go to Green Bay, and they went out and got Quentin Williams. They've tried to upgrade that defense before the trade deadline. Do you think they got it right?
Yeah, I mean, the additions that they made, I think, are good. They're also getting some players back from injury. Overshown, the linebacker, coming back from injury. Savone Revel, the rookie, coming in as well. They're starting to get some bodies back to that defense, as well as guys that they've brought in and the reinforcements that they've added. And yeah, they don't even need the defense to get good. They just need it to stop being one of the worst defenses in NFL history for this team to be able to win some games. And I think that's what you're seeing is, they're not a great defense, but they've definitely pulled their game up, and they're, starting to be able to hold up their end of the bargain a little bit. And when that happens, Dak Prescott is still playing fantastic football. George Pickens is having an incredible season. CeeDee Lamb has been more inconsistent this year than he has been in the past, but is still a dangerous and dynamic receiver. And that offense can absolutely do damage. So, yeah, I think they're a threat to anybody now.
Follow him. He's a must follow. The podcast is fantastic. Go to X at Sam Mson NFL. Real easy to find the podcast, which I listen to every week. Check the mic with Steve Palazzolo. It's fantastic. Talk to you next week, Sam. Thank you.
Anytime. Take it easy.
You got it, Sam Mson. Very good guest. Very fortunate to have him in the slot every Monday. He doesn't have to do it. He said he would, and he does. He's here every Monday for us at this time. We really appreciate that. So there you go. We go around the NFL. You're going to be hearing more of that from me. I'm going to be going around the NFL a lot more, and especially around January, February, Super Bowl coverage, all the stuff that we have. We're going to talk Raiders. You better believe we'll talk Raiders. It's Raider Nation Radio. But I'm a talk show host, and I'm going to be talking about sports. Because when the team's playing at this level, we don't want to come in every day and be miserable. We don't want to come in every day and be negative. So the way not to be negative every day is spend some time talking about other teams and other sports and what's happening with breaking news. And we'll do that. And I think I'll know how to get there and make it, I think, entertaining but fast-paced and keep you going if you're a fan of sports radio. But this is not the misery index. When I host my radio shows, I don't want to come on the radio every day and be in a bad mood because the team I'm covering is losing. I can handle losses better than anybody you know. I can handle losses. But the way this team is lost and the way they're performing is hard because then you have to be very critical. And hey, for those who say I'm not critical enough, that ship has sailed, man. I don't care. I know how critical I am. It depends on what you think you're listening to. I know what I'm saying here every day. I want the team to win more than anybody. I want them to win at all cost. For the show, for you, the fans, the Raider Nation, my job, my sons, my family, we're season ticket holders. We pay money to go see this team play. We want them to win. We're not parking our cars and going in there looking to watch kids develop and lose. That's not what I signed up for. I want to see world-class football. And that's why Chip Kelly was let go, because this is not a world-class football offense. It's one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. It's shockingly bad. That's how bad the offense is. It's that bad. So if you're not good, if you're average, all right, we can get through it. But when you're this bad, you've got to find a way to tell us why. And they did. They fired Chip Kelly. All right, let's keep rolling here. NorCal Raider checking in on the flagship. Thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We had the season's been tough, but I'm gonna be optimistic. I think I hope they I'm pretty sure they're gonna retain Pete. I don't think Pete's gonna go anywhere, and because you don't want to lose a whole year of foundation, even though every single year you're building something. And I think, honestly, possibly what I think is going to happen, if he's able to bring in his guys, his coordinators, somebody young, like a Ben Johnson, someone that's out there, I think things can change. And if you could simplify the offense and not make it too crazy and put less pressure on those offensive linemen to do things that are kind of unconventional for them, I think that's one of the biggest reasons. But I think it's a good change. I'm hoping. I just want to see progress. Like all these three other teams in the NFL that aren't doing so well, like the Browns and the Giants. There's progress. There's something there. So I'm just hopefully we'll be able to get some progress with the change of coordinators.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks a lot for checking in. And look, I tell you this again. This team, they're gonna try to get the right people for the job. And they believe they have the right people for the job until they don't win. Don't you understand? I think everybody understands that this team, when they make a decision on a coach or a player, everybody's jumping in to try to make the right decisions. They're not here to sabotage you or their jobs. They're trying to make the right decision. When it doesn't work, Mark reacts quickly and they move on. And coaches want to get rid of them. You want to pay them? Let's move on. But you can't build something long-term if you're firing everybody. You got to give the coaches a chance with the players to turn it around. This year cannot be turned around. The only good that could come the rest of this year is to see improvement with some of the young players, and protect the other players who are going to be valuable for this team going forward. Don't leave them in the game in a blowout. Don't do that. Have them in the game. Have them in the game if the game is close. Brock Bowers can't be in the game with under a minute to go if you're getting blown out. Okay, you don't need Ashton Genty on the field. We need to save him for his future. Don't run him into a wall. On 2nd and 9, don't hand it up the middle and he gets cracked by 3 guys. That's not going to help him. So the decisions coming up here are really important going forward on where this team is going to be. And I don't know where they're going to be. I didn't think they'd be great this year. I thought 8 or 9 wins would be fair and a good season. I thought that would be a good season. They're going to be nowhere near 8 or 9 wins. Nowhere near it. And they have a chance. They have a chance to be one of the worst Raider teams of all time. I'm not saying they are now. I would never say that. But this is the worst offense I've ever seen for the Raiders. I don't recall an offense that played this poorly. So Greg Olsen gets a chance to put his stamp on it and turn it around. Robert in Portland. You're up next, Robert. Thank you.
Orlando in Connecticut.
Orlando in Connecticut. My bad. Orlando, how are you?
Good. How are you, JT?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, a little, not a great Monday morning, but I think Monday afternoon, but it was time for Chip. But I do have one thing for you. JT, what's the deal with Greg Olson? Like, I don't want to talk bad about coaches, but we've been down this road before. Isn't Luke Beckel supposed to be an up-and-coming offensive mind? And why would we not give that kid a shot with Greg Olson looming over his shoulder and helping him?
You could do that too. I mean, I don't know. I've known Greg a long time. I consider him a good friend, respect him a lot. This is a short-term move. They're putting him in here because they just fired a coach, and Greg's been around. Greg's been around a long time, so he could come in here and maybe stabilize this group and the guys that are around there that knows him, and then they'll make a decision in the offseason on a new direction to go into. So, it's a stopgap type of thing. You just fired someone. You want to keep someone familiar in the room that knows these players, and he's the guy. That's all I see. Thanks. I mean, I don't know the answer. I don't know, and I'm going to talk to Pete Carroll tomorrow. We're moving everything up. We got Pete Carroll tomorrow. We have Raiders rundown tomorrow because we're off on Thursday for Thanksgiving. So tomorrow I'm going to interview Pete Carroll. I'm going to ask him directly what went into the decision to fire Chip Kelly. I'm not going to say, hey, Coach, Chip sucks. Why'd you fire him? No, I'm going to say, Coach, I'll give you the question. What went into your decision to remove Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator? That's my job. My job is not for you to hear what I think. It's to interview the coach who's making decisions, and some of these decisions are hard. People have families, but Chip will be fine. Chip's got some big cash coming to him for quite some time. Robert in Portland, you're up next. What's going on, Robert?
Yeah, hey, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I just felt it was going to be like this year, but not quite this bad. I think that this is an interesting time. It's not like Andrew Walter's days and all that. This is just a Spike X turn to figure out what the heck they had. I think the old man Pete thought they could do a running offense, rush the ball and have a pretty good year, not a great year. And he thought the offensive line was good enough to do that. And that was a huge mistake. And I think he feels that now. And they just have to figure it out, what they want to do with Gino. I think Gino has lost his mojo. And it's more mental now than anything. He mentioned a number of times he overthrew. But you know what? It works both ways. Metcalf would have caught those instead of. And I'm not putting down Tucker. I'm just saying he had some outlets in Seattle that he doesn't have now. I'm not giving him a break here. I'm just saying that this team, it more than anybody, is a team that runs on momentum. They proved it with Pierce, but they don't need to do that this year. If they finish with 3-4 wins, so be it. I just don't want them to completely give up. I want them to play pretty good ball against these tough teams coming up because that's something that you have to build on. And I think he doesn't want it to be remembered for being the worst coach the Raiders have had in a long, long time.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Rob. I can promise you Pete Carroll's going to coach these guys as hard as he's ever coached them to try to win games. They just might not win another game because they're not very good. But the coaches will do their job and have them ready to win. They're going to coach all these games like it's a championship game. That's what Pete Carroll does. I'm just noticing, we live in a real time. Every day is accountable. Every day. I'm just amazed at how many people don't want to look at Pete Carroll's entire body of work. You can't judge him as a coach for this year. You'd sound stupid and ignorant if you did that. You can't judge Pete Carroll's entire career. He's 74 years old. You can't judge it just for 2025. It's going to be his worst season ever as a head coach. That's why we have weighted averages. What's your career winning percentage? How many 10-win seasons do you have? He's got a lot. This one will not be a 10-win season. I want to thank Tommy White and the 872 laborers building this city on time and on budget. Good to see Tommy White at all the games and all the development that's going on here. The 872 laborers, proud partner of the show. When we come back, Pete Carroll his press conference. We'll play some of that. Want to hear what that's going to sound like a little bit, and more of your phone calls on the way out. And it's going to be a tough week because we got to move on from this game and get ready for the Chargers. Chargers got a lot of injuries too, and it would be nice to break the streak of losing in Southern California. Yeah. All right, everybody. See some cranky people here. That's okay. That's understood. Wow. All right. Thanks for the birthday wishes. It was fun yesterday. JT, do you think Gino has lost the fan base? I don't know. He hasn't lost me. I don't think the fans are thrilled with him. I don't think he's thrilled with his performance. So everything will be good. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, can everybody please subscribe? Can you take a minute and hit subscribe for us, please? We're trying to get to a good number. We're trying to get to a good number here. So get to that subscription, hit subscribe, and please share with others.